CEO's heart stopped as mute daughter finally speaks at playground. What happened next is shocking. The sun blazed down on the vibrant playground, a multicolored jungle gym alive with laughter and squeals of delight. But amidst the joyful chaos stood Derek, the powerful CEO of a tech giant. Sweat glistened on his brow, not from the heat, but from a creeping dread. His eyes were glued to his daughter, Lucy, a 7-year-old enigma wrapped in a pink dress, who had never uttered a single word. Silence cloaked them, and yet today felt different. Children dashed past, their sounds a whirl of innocent play, but Derek's heart thundered like a drum. For years, his life had been a rush: board meetings, deadpan negotiations, and cold coffee. Yet, nothing prepared him for the possibility of losing Lucy in this gigantic crowd. The anxiety coiled inside him. What if today was another day of nothingness, a reminder that his daughter's silence was a heavy stone in his chest? He inhaled sharply, hoping for a miracle, and then it happened. Out of nowhere, Lucy turned toward him, her wide eyes sparkling with a haunting depth that sent chills down his spine. The world around them faded as she opened her lips, words unfurling like petals from a flower. "Daddy, help me." The moment hung like thick fog, silence crashing down around them. The gasp from nearby parents echoed, their jaws dropping as they stared in disbelief. What had just happened? Derek's heart froze, a lump swelling in his throat. Did he truly just hear his daughter speak? Her tiny voice was a fragile thread slicing through the noise. Only weeks before, they had been told she might never communicate. Was this some sadistic joke the universe was playing? The playground erupted into whispers. Eyes darted, expressions shifted from confusion to awe, a collective shiver running through the crowd. The air crackled with electric confusion, parents glanced nervously at one another. Did you hear that? The rumors began to swirl. Maybe she had always been capable of speech. Maybe her silence held a darkness. Maybe, just maybe, danger was lurking around the corner. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the world swirled around him, Lucy's gaze turned frantic, searching the faces in the crowd. Her tiny fingers clenched into fists. Tears brimmed in her eyes, desperation gnawing at her small frame. What was she afraid of? The playground, once a place of innocent fun, had shifted into an ominous tableau. Derek took a step forward, instinctually reaching for his daughter, staring into the wild attention of onlookers, all demanding answers. What did Lucy see that he didn't? And why had she chosen today to finally speak? Shadows danced around the edges of his mind as Derek's heart pounded, an urgent rhythm echoing the question that hung perilously in the air: was the worst yet to come? Derek moved through the expectant crowd, each step feeling like he waded through mud. The majestic play structures loomed like sentinels, now twisted into ominous shapes in his mind. His heart raced as he kept his eyes locked on Lucy, who stood rooted in place, fear painted across her tiny features. He reached her just as she backed away, like a startled doe sensing danger. "Lucy, it's okay. I'm right here," he called, his voice trembling. But she didn't seem to hear him. Her eyes darted around, wide with terror. What had frightened his sweet girl, who had always found joy in simply spinning around in circles? The world blurred, parents whispering, questioning, judging. And then, he saw it. A shadow lingering just beyond the playground, hidden among the trees, shifting almost imperceptibly. Derek squinted, his instincts flaring. The shape disappeared just as quickly. Was it just a figment of his panic-stricken imagination? He shook his head, forcing himself to focus on Lucy. "Help me," she whimpered again, her small voice trembling now, tears spilling down her cheeks. Derek knelt down to her level, his heart shattering with every sob that escaped her lips. "Sweetheart, what is it? Who do you need help from?" The question felt heavy, hanging thick in the air between them, as if the answer loomed just beyond their grasp, waiting to be revealed. White man, her voice cracked, barely a whisper now, tall, behind the bushes. Derek's breath hitched in his throat. His blood ran cold. An icy chill washed over him, replacing the warmth of the sun on his back. He glanced back towards the bushes, tension coiling in his stomach. Why would Lucy say that? A rush of parents surged towards him, murmurs of concern buzzing through the air. Derek stood, shaking off the panic. He needed to protect Lucy. "Everyone, stay back!" he yelled, his voice cutting through the noise. "There's someone there, call the police." His voice was met with confusion and disbelief, but he saw one parent whip out a phone, dialing with shaking hands. Derek's instincts kicked in. He scanned the area, shouting to the children, "Get inside the building. Now!" A few parents hesitated, exchanging worried glances, unsure of what to do. Suddenly, a piercing whistle rang out, shrill and out of place amidst the playground sounds. Derek's heart dropped. It was a signal, something sinister lurking just beneath the surface. He had to act, fear was crawling beneath his skin. "Lucy, close your eyes and hold my hand." He reached for her trembling fingers. Their connection felt fragile, like threads of silk about to sever. She squeezed tightly, her heartbeat echoing in his mind. But just before he could lead her away, a figure stepped fully into view, framed by the sunlight. An imposing man, tall and looming, with a twisted grin that froze the blood in Derek's veins. "Looking for something?" he taunted, his voice menacing, each word dripping with malice. Panic surged in Derek's chest like a tidal wave. This man was no stranger, he had learned to evade, be elastic, to hide in plain sight. "Who are you?" Derek demanded, his voice steady despite the fear quaking inside him. The man chuckled low, a sound that turned the air cold. "You're going to wish you never asked." His gut twisted, confusion mixing with a primal urge to protect. Derek felt the tension in Lucy's grip tighten, she was scared, terrified. But there was no way he could back down now. The shadows of the playground felt alive, closing in around them. Was this truly happening? The chaos spiraled as the man's grin widened. Derek's mind raced, and all he could think was how desperately he needed to shield Lucy from whatever nightmare had just strolled onto their playground. As the police sirens wailed in the distance, would Derek be able to face this threat before it was too late? The air crackled with tension, leaving a chilling question hanging in the wind: who was the true monster here? Derek's heart hammered louder than the sirens blaring in the distance. The man's twisted grin sent a jolt of icy fear coursing through him. He couldn't let Lucy see his panic. He had to protect her, no matter what. "Lucy, stay behind me," he barked, shielding her small body with his, glancing from the sinister figure to the crowd that had begun to back off, their faces displaying a mixture of scared curiosity and disbelief. "You really think you can protect her?" The man sneered, stepping forward, his boots crunching the gravel beneath them. Each step felt like a thunderous signal, escalating the dread that filled the air. Derek stood his ground, determination hardening his resolve. "Get away from us!" he shouted, squaring his shoulders. His voice shook with fear but carried an undertone of defiance. Eyes darting around, he looked for any other adults willing to intervene, but the crowd seemed frozen, paralyzed by the unfolding horror. "Clever man," the stranger drawled, leaning down, his face inches from Derek's. Derek could smell the stale alcohol on his breath. "But you don't know what you're dealing with." Lucy whimpered softly, clutching Derek's pant leg as she trained her eyes on the figure, terror etched across her face. He hesitated only for a moment, then bent to her level, whispering urgently, "I'm going to get you out of here. Just keep clinging to me, okay?" She nodded, but her gaze was still entranced by the man before them. A tremor ran through Derek. He needed to divert Lucy's focus. "Do you remember that game we play?" he asked, forcing a smile, trying to spark a flicker of safety in her eyes. "The one with the tall trees? We can climb to the top and see the whole world from above. Isn't that fun?" The man's laughter interrupted. "Neither of you are going anywhere." He turned slightly, raising a hand. Derek's stomach dropped. Was he signaling someone else? Were more people lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce? Panic seized him, and suddenly, he didn't just want to escape, he wanted to fight. "Lucy, close your eyes and count to 10. He commanded, his voice firm now. As she obeyed, Derek stepped forward, clenching his fists, ready to charge if necessary. "You don't scare me," he yelled, the words defiant and challenging. The stranger's laugh echoed through the playground, and Derek could see now that it wasn't just a game for him. "You should be scared, friend. Very scared." Then he motioned behind him, and the world turned surreal as two more figures emerged from deeper in the trees, each one imposing, dressed in dark, unyielding clothing. They approached with an eerie calmness, their expressions blank, as if they were machines, devoid of emotion. Derek's heart raced faster than he thought possible. He had to get Lucy away from this horror show. His eyes were locked on hers, her last count rang in his ears. 1, 2, 3. He willed her to finish faster while desperately working to think of a way out, but before he could gather his thoughts, a loud crash echoed from the nearby building as a flood of teenagers burst out, a mix of confusion and adrenaline painting their faces. They had seen the commotion and were rushing to help. "Get down!" one of them shouted, realizing the seriousness of the situation. They dove towards Derek and Lucy, their determination palpable. In that moment of distraction, Derek seized his chance. "Now, Lucy!" He grasped her little hand tightly and sprinted towards the crowd, a surge of adrenaline propelling them forward as they pushed past the looming figures, whose confusion momentarily stalled their advance. "Derek, wait!" Lucy cried, her voice piercing through the chaos. "The white man," he said. He turned to her, breathless. "What did he say, Lucy?" But just as she opened her mouth to answer, something shifted in the air, the crowd swirling with uncertainty, the sirens cutting through the tension. As darkness loomed ever closer, one lurking figure slipped silently away. What had they missed? Was this just the beginning? Derek's heart raced as he turned to find Lucy's eyes looking at him with a new depth of fear. "Daddy, there's more to this than we know," she whispered, her voice barely a thread in the chaos, leaving Derek grappling with the ominous weight of her words. As they fled into the thrumming mass of bodies, he couldn't shake the feeling that the real nightmare was still out there, waiting to unfold. Derek barreled through the crowd, Lucy's tiny hand clutched tightly in his. The chaos around them morphed into a cacophony of distant shouts and wailing sirens. He couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, hunted even. Glancing back, he caught the sight of one of the dark figures pushing through the throng of teens, their expression unreadable, but intent. He dashed toward the exit of the playground, his heart pounding against his chest in time with his frantic footsteps. "We have to keep moving, Lucy," he urged, his voice strained. The tightness in his throat was a knot of fears he didn't dare voice. What had she seen? What did the man mean? Lucy stumbled slightly, and Derek felt the tightening in his grip. I just wanted to tell you," she panted, her expression pained as if she were trying to convey something vital amidst the chaos. "Focus on running," Derek snapped, fighting against the rising panic. It killed him to shout at her, especially when she was so small and scared, but he couldn't afford to think about anything else. They had to get home. "We can talk in the car." They burst through the playground gates, the world falling into a muffled quiet. The clamor faded behind them, replaced only by the sound of their footsteps on the pavement. He led Lucy toward their car parked under the shadow of a large oak tree, casting eerie shapes on the asphalt, but as they neared the vehicle, dread formed a lump in Derek's stomach. The driver's side door stood ajar. Had he left it open? No, he was sure he delocked it. "Lucy, stay here," he ordered, more forcefully than intended. Before she could respond, he turned to the car, desperately searching for any sign of tampering. He glanced back, and the world blurred for an instant. His heart dropped as he saw the first of those dark figures emerge from the playground's shadows, moving with a purpose that ripped through his instincts. "Daddy?" Lucy's voice trembled behind him. "Get back!" Derek barked, instincts firing. He moved to shield her, heart racing at an unrelenting tempo. The specter of danger pressed against him like a wall. The guy from before, the one with the twisted grin, was suddenly in front of them, eyes glinting like polished stones. "Thought you could get away that easily?" He hissed, Derek's fists clenched, his body taut with adrenaline, but he felt the uncertainty creeping in. The figure now began to circle them, a predator assessing its prey. Lucy clung to his leg, face pale, and Derek could see the confusion and fear flickering in her eyes. "Why is he staring at us like that?" she whispered, her voice small like a bird trapped in a cage. "Don't look at him, Lucy." Derek shot back, voice edged with panic. He turned sharply, ready to confront this menace. "You have no idea who you're messing with." The man stopped, pausing just for a moment, as if considering Derek's words. A slow, menacing smile crept back to his face. "Oh, but I know more than you think, especially about her." He pointed a long finger toward Lucy, sending ice through Derek's veins. "No!" Derek roared, the primal urge to protect surging through him. "You don't touch her." But the man wasn't done. He raised his other hand and there was a hushed murmur from somewhere behind him. Derek's head snapped around, and horror slashed through him as he realized the second figure had closed in behind them, blocking their only escape. "Run, Lucy! Go!" he shouted, but time seemed to slow. He could see Lucy's body tremble, her wide eyes filling with panic as she looked between him and the figures. "Daddy," she said again, a plea laced with confusion. What was this weight she sensed hanging in the air? Desperation clawed at his insides. "Run! Now!" Just then, Lucy's voice rose, clear and sharp, breaking through the fog. "I know what you want." The chilling impact of her words hung between them. Silence draped over the confrontation as all three figures turned toward her, the tension shifting with shocking suddenness. The man smiled wider, intrigued. "Oh? And what is it that you think I want, little girl?" As the world spun around them, Derek's chest tightened. He realized he was no longer sure of what threat hung over them, and the shadows stalking their steps closed in with ominous intent. What had she just unleashed? Just what truth did Lucy know that could change everything? The moment hung in the air, thick with uncertainty. The man's predatory gaze bore down on Lucy like a hawk sizing up its prey. Derek felt a cold sweat trickle down his back. What truth shone in Lucy's innocent eyes? What had she just thrown into this deadly game? "Lucy, don't!" he pleaded, his voice laced with urgency. He stepped closer to her, instinctively positioning his body as a barrier against the looming threat. "You don't have to be scared," Lucy said, her voice quaking but surprisingly steady. "You want to know what I saw?" "Shut your mouth," the man hissed, but his grin faded into something darker. "You have no idea how deep this goes." Derek's heart hammered. He had no choice, he needed to know what Lucy was saying. "Tell me the truth, sweetie. Right now." "I saw him, Daddy," she cried. "In the shadows. He took the pictures." Her small voice echoed in the stillness, and Derek felt a chill slither down his spine. "Pictures? What pictures?" He managed, though his heart raced at the implication. The man's eyes narrowed, shifting between Derek and Lucy. "You're playing a dangerous game, little girl," he sneered. "You should be careful what you say." "Who are you?" Derek asked, each word a fight against the growing terror. "What do you want with my daughter?" The man stepped closer, the smile on his lips a mocking twist. "You know what I want. She's the key, isn't she? A little bird with very big secrets." "Secrets? What secrets?" Derek pressed, frustration boiling over. But before he could push further, the quiet behind him turned into a series of frantic rustles. People in the parking lot had begun to take notice, curious glances, whispers echoing like stones dropped into water. He could feel eyes on them, judging, taking stock of the drama unfolding, a crowd on the verge of panic. "Let us go," Derek urged Lucy, tugging at her hand. It was a directionless instinct, a need to escape this nightmare. "Not so fast," the man warned, his frame growing more menacing as he blocked their escape. Derek glanced sideways. The other figure was already melding into the murk of the shadows, its presence barely perceptible but clearly dangerous. With a surge of desperation, Derek turned back to Lucy. "You have to trust me. Can you get to the car yourself?" "No," she cried, fear bubbling anew. "I don't want to leave you." The man laughed, a sharp, cruel sound. "Ah, the bond between father and daughter. So touching. But you're underestimating our power, boy." And with that, he took a step forward, panic igniting inside Derek. "Let us go. Now." He barked again, this time more urgently. "Just tell me what you know, Lucy." Derek's voice cracked, the words trailing in the air as he scanned the surroundings, desperate for an escape route. "I can't," she shouted, her eyes glistening with tears, twisting the knife deeper into Derek's heart. "But I don't want him to hurt you." The man's mouth curled into a satisfied grin. He savored their suffering. "You don't have to worry about your precious father, little girl. What he doesn't know will leave him powerless." With sheer determination, Derek wrapped an arm around Lucy's tiny shoulders, shielding her as he tried to maneuver past the looming threat. The weight of the situation pressed down on him. His mind raced, always thinking ahead. Just as they made a break for it, the shadowy figure behind them stepped forward, breaking the last barrier of distance. "Wait!" Lucy cried again, sounding oddly composed. "I understand your game." Derek halted, shock rooting him in place. The crowd began to murmur again, eyes glued to the scene, adrenaline buzzing in the air like a faint electric charge. "You should have listened to your daughter," the man declared ominously, deathly calm. "Because now you'll learn the truth, the hard way." Dread filled Derek. What had Lucy awakened? What truth was slumbering among shadows, waiting to claw them into darkness? Then the ground beneath them trembled as a low rumble echoed through the air. Derek looked around, terror rising in his chest. Was this just the beginning of their nightmare? What did they stumble into? And would they survive the coming storm? The rumble intensified, sending vibrations through Derek's feet. It was as if the earth itself was rebelling against the madness unfurling before them. Derek felt a tingle at the base of his neck, an acute awareness that this nightmare could quickly become something far worse. "What did you see, Lucy?" he whispered fiercely, crouching down to meet her eyes, trying to pull her away from the danger. But she shook her head, her small brows furrowing in thought. "I just know he's bad, Daddy. He has friends. They're everywhere." Derek's heart sank, a fresh wave of panic crashing over him. "Friends? What do you mean? We need to move." "Not until she talks," the man interjected, his voice steady but laced with menace. "She has pieces of a puzzle that go beyond your pathetic little lives." Derek's breath quickened, each frantic inhalation tasting bitter as he glanced around at the onlookers' faces twisted in confusion, a few inches from horror. "Get back!" He shouted at them, instinctively defensive. Get away from here. But nobody moved. The crowd seemed rooted to the ground, a mix of morbid fascination and fear, eyes darting between the danger and Derek's frantic pleading. Only she can set you free, the man chuckled darkly, his demeanor shifting to one of twisted exhilaration. He leaned closer to Lucy, crouching to her level. It's easy to slip secrets away when no one is watching. But, oh dear, everyone is watching now, aren't they? Derek lunged forward, adrenaline fueling his determination, but the man raised a hand, palm open, as if to dare him. Don't make me show you how far I'm willing to go. A chill whispered down Derek's spine. You don't scare me, he managed, forcing confidence into his words. But there was a quiver in his voice that didn't escape the man's notice. Then let us play a game. The man's smile was all teeth, the kind that signaled malice. Let us see how much she knows, shall we? The ground continued to rumble, now accompanied by distant screams piercing through the atmosphere like a siren. Anxiety mounted inside Derek. Was this threat pulling in forces he was unaware of? Lucy, he started again, desperation in his voice that he could see her trembling, her small frame caught in a storm of fear and confusion. No, Daddy, I don't want to play, she whimpered, glancing back at the man, then at her father. A deep inhale drew her shoulders up, and for a heartbeat, a flicker of something determined sparked in her eyes. But I have to protect you. Derek's heart tightened. Protect me? Protect us. We need to leave. But her gaze turned steely, locking with the man's. You think you're the powerful one here. But you're wrong. A strange silence swept through the crowd as her words hung in the air, thick with a weight no one could ignore. Derek felt it too, a strange shift, as if an unseen force weighed against the man, pulling at the darkness around them. Do you really think you still hold the strings? The man taunted, but there was hesitation in his voice now. Strings? Lucy echoed. You tied them yourself, and I'm going to cut them. Without warning, she pulled a small stone from her pocket and tossed it up. The stone sparkled ominously before crashing to the ground in a soft explosion of dust and light. Derek's heart raced as the scene erupted. Shadows started swirling as if released from bondage, flickering around the parking lot, disorienting all present. Stop! What have you done? The man screamed, his confident demeanor wavering as the chaos unfolded. Derek seized the moment. Gathering Lucy in his arms, he charged into the pandemonium, sensing a moment of vulnerability. They bolted toward their car, freedom burning in their lungs. But as they neared the vehicle, Derek glanced back just in time. The shadows were swirling into something far more sinister, echoing a growl that chilled him to the bone. Lucy, hurry! He urged, pushing the door open. They both dove inside, but the feeling of safety was fleeting. The man's laughter rang maliciously through the air, even as they locked the doors. You won't escape this, not now that the storm has begun. With the engine roaring to life, Derek turned the key wildly, reality crashing down around them as they tore out of the parking lot. The shadows danced behind them as if alive, a ravenous pulse now chasing them into the night. What had Lucy unleashed? And was fleeing really their way out, or was it just another part of the game? Derek's hands gripped the steering wheel like a vice, knuckles turning white as they sped away from chaos. The engine growled beneath him, the tires screeching against the asphalt like they were racing for their lives. Lucy! He shouted, panic slipping into his voice. What just happened back there? He risked a quick glance at her, fearing the answer but desperate for it all the same. The car surged into the night, streetlights flickering outside, their weak glow barely breaking the darkness. Lucy's eyes were wide, reflecting stars and confusion, but also a defiance he had never seen from her before. I don't know, Dad, she whispered, her voice trembling but firm. But I felt something. It came from the stone. I think it released them. Released who? Derek's heart raced, his mind struggling to connect the dots. The shadows, swirling with menace, seemed to gnaw at the corners of his thoughts. His instincts screamed. His daughter was right in the crosshairs of something far bigger than just a playground threat. It's Lucy paused, searching for the right words. They're everywhere, Daddy. Watching. His grip on the will tightened further, fear gnawing at him in answer. Well, we can't let them catch up to us. We need to find a safe place. Each glance in the rearview mirror was a torment. Shadows flickered behind them, weaving in and out as if coming alive on the road. The laughter of the man from the parking lot echoed in his mind, taunting and dark. Suddenly, a piercing scream erupted, shattering the tension. A figure leapt out into the street just ahead, waving frantically. Derek slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching as they skidded to a halt. Get in! He yelled, heart racing again. The woman rushing toward them was wild-eyed and disheveled, chest heaving as if she'd just escaped from a nightmare. Her skin was pale, glistening with something sweat-like, but that was irrelevant now. Please. You have to help me. She gasped, scrambling to the passenger side, the urgency of her voice tinged with desperation. Get in! Derek shouted again, glancing back at the encroaching shadows. She tumbled into the seat, pressing her back against the door as if it could shield her from the horrors outside. They're coming! She cried. The shadows they won't stop until they have what they want. What do they want? Derek asked, already fearing the answer. Her eyes darted toward Lucy, recognition dawning as if everything clicked into place. The girl, she has power. They want it. They want her. Derek's chest tightened. Lucy, you need to hide, keep your head down. But Lucy didn't flinch. The resolve in her eyes only burned brighter. No, Daddy. They can't take me. I won't let them. With that, she turned to the woman. You know something. Tell us. The shadows grew closer now, dark tendrils creeping ominously toward the car. The woman's breaths came ragged, panic spilling out of her. I saw what they could do. They create fear and use it to grow stronger. But there's a way to fight back. You need to. Before she could finish, a loud crack resonated in the night, followed by another scream from somewhere in the distance, and the shadows surged forward, racing toward them as one. Derek, go! Lucy shouted, her little body tense in the seat. No! This can't end like this. But it was too late. The shadows broke free from their restraints, claws reaching for the car, a vortex of rage and hunger. What did they want from you, sweetie? Derek's voice broke through the chaos, his mind racing against time and darkness. I'll tell you, Daddy, right after I tell them. With a fierce determination, Lucy leaned forward and reached out toward the swirling mass of shadow. The air inside the car chilled, darkness dancing just beyond the windshield, and then she shouted. The sound ripped through the night like thunder. Enough! A blast of light erupted at her command, illuminating the shadows momentarily. Derek squinted against the glow, feeling something shift in the world around him, like the clouds parting to reveal the sky. But before he could discern what was happening, the light flickered, the shadows pulled back. Lucy stared into the growing abyss, her breath steady despite the tumult. Lucy, what are you doing? Derek felt terror claw at him again. I'm cutting the strings. She declared fiercely. As darkness swirled around them, her eyes gleamed with purpose. The shadows rippled, hesitated, then instead of retreating, they loomed closer, more volatile. What had Lucy unleashed? And would fighting back ignite the fury, or awaken something far worse? Derek's heart raced like a runaway train, his pulse pounding painfully in his ears as he braced for the unknown fury Lucy had unleashed. The shadows writhed against the car's frame, claws of darkness scraping along the glass, sending icy shivers down his spine. Stay back! Lucy yelled, her voice fierce and unwavering. The light pulsed around her, a bubble of warmth amid the gathering cold. But Derek could see the sweat beading on her brow, her small frame trembling with the effort of holding back the onslaught of shadowy figures that loomed closer. "Lucy, you're not ready for this," he shouted, panic lacing his tone. He could feel the weight of the woman's fearful gaze in the car, but he couldn't take his eyes from his daughter. "I have to do this," she insisted, her little fist clenched tightly. "They need to know I won't be afraid." The wailing wind outside matched the growing tumult in the car, a bone-chilling harmony that threatened to tear them all apart. Derek glanced at the woman who had joined their frantic flight. Her face was pale, lips twitching as if she were fighting to scream, to say something important. "What's your name?" he demanded, his voice a harsh whisper over the chaos. "We need your help." "Arya," she breathed, eyes wide as she turned to Derek. "You have to trust me. Lucy can do this, but she'll need guidance. We have to focus." "Focus?" Derek echoed, incredulous. "How do you focus against this?" He gestured wildly at the shadows that gnashed hungrily, the gleaming eyes filled with feral malice. "Listen," Arya urged, her voice charged with urgency. "Each of those shadows feeds on fear. If Lucy can channel her strength, she can push them back. We have to remind her our thoughts create our reality." Derek's heart sank. His mind was a swirling chaos, grasping for clarity. "Lucy," he said, forcing himself to sound calm, "think of something strong, something powerful." But Lucy looked up at him, resolute but frightened. "I can't just think of it, Daddy. I have to feel it." "Then feel it. Feel the courage, the love." Derek's heart cracked as he recalled the happiest moments they shared, the laughter, the warmth of hugs, the fierce protectiveness that surged through every fiber of his being. "You have it inside you, sweetie. Please." For a heartbeat, the shadows hesitated, sensing the shift in energy. Darkness rippled, chaos shuddering momentarily as Lucy's expression changed, her features softening, her resolve deepening. "I'm not afraid," she shouted defiantly, her voice ringing through the darkness. The light surged around her again, and she reached out once more. "Go back. You're not welcome here." Derek felt a surge of hope, but it was short-lived. The shadows writhed, their snarling faces rewriting the narrative from hopelessness to anger. A rush of icy air blasted through the car as if the very essence of dread had transformed into a storm. Suddenly, everything went black. The light that had surrounded Lucy flickered, dimming as shadows enveloped them. Panic clawed through Derek's chest, he could no longer see anything beyond pitch darkness. "Lucy!" he yelled, voice hoarse and tight. "I'm here, Daddy," came her small, brave voice echoing from the void, and then came the crash. A sound like glass shattering, splintering through the air, followed by a chilling screech that set his teeth on edge. Derek gripped the wheel with every ounce of his strength, heart hammering as he felt the weight of the storm outside crashing against the world around them. "Lucy!" he cried, desperation coating his voice. "Don't lose your light. Fight it. Just a little more," she whispered back, as if she were slowly overcoming a great weight. The shadows screeched in defiance, their hunger tearing at him, a cacophony of nightmare, but then a new light, blinding and gold, burst forth from Lucy's tiny hands, illuminating the void. All at once, everything shifted. The dark claws recoiled, and a harmonious sound filled the air, something like angels singing, a promise of hope. But then Derek felt a chill in his bones as reality shifted again. What was happening? The shadows began to twist around each other, forming a vortex. Panic set in as their furious whispers clawed at his mind. Lucy's presence started to dim, the light flickering as darkness tugged at her. "Fight, Lucy. Fight!" he begged. But suddenly, his daughter's voice faltered, and the light flickered. I can't hold them forever. What had they awakened? And as the shadows tightened their grip, what had Lucy truly unlocked? Derek's breath hitched in his throat as the shadows converged, an inky mass clawing for Lucy's light. Her golden glow flickered, and for a moment, he thought he'd lose her completely. No! Not my girl! He shouted, his heart wrenching with desperation. Outside, the storm howled, shaking the metal frame of the car as if it were alive, surging with a malevolent force. Each shrill gust of wind felt like fingers of fate tightening around his neck. You must hold on. He implored, urging himself to believe in the power of his daughter. You're stronger than they are. But the shadows clawed at the edges of his mind, whispering his deepest fears. Would Lucy be lost to this darkness? Would his family be torn apart? The very thought sent a jagged pain through his chest. Daddy! Help me! Lucy's voice quavered, her spirit sagging like a wilting flower, and with it, Derek felt an anguished tug at the core of his being. Lucy! The name was a prayer, a rallying cry. He swiveled to Arya. What can we do? Connect with her, Derek. Arya shouted through the chaos, her eyes fierce and shining against the darkness. Share your strength. She needs to know she's not alone. Derek closed his eyes, drawing in the warmth of memory, summer nights spent under the stars, the sound of Lucy's laughter, the night she first learned to ride her bike. That joy was life. That love was fire. Lucy, listen. He yelled, forcing conviction into his voice. I'm right here. You are not alone. I believe in you. The shadows writhed, their sinister energy recoiling slightly. In that moment of triumph, Derek's heart swelled as a fiery light shimmered in Lucy's eyes. Daddy! Her voice was a shaky whisper, barely breaking the roar around them. I want to be strong. I don't want to be afraid. Yes. It's in you. Derek shouted, dragging her strength from the depths of his soul, blending it with her own, pulling all the memories of love and light into the moment. Remember our time together, remember the light we make together. You've been brave all along. The shadows recoiled again, their forms twisting with an almost sentient rage, sensing their defeat. Derek could feel their collective fury slamming against his thoughts, strangling his resolve, but he held fast. In a flash, Lucy's shimmer brightened, cutting through the looming darkness. You don't scare me. She cried, her voice now echoing with newfound power. I want to be afraid. The light exploded outward, flooding the car with brilliance. The shadows shrieked, tortured by the golden glow as they writhed in agony. Derek could feel the heat of Lucy's strength washing over him, igniting every fiber of his being, every resolve and ounce of love. But then, a chilling realization gripped him. A crack began to form, a fissure in the shadows that swirled around them. It's not enough. He gasped, panic climbing again. We have to find the source. As if they understood the weight of his words, the shadows surged forward once more, slashing through the barrier with renewed vigor that sent waves of despair crashing into him. In that dreadful moment, an icy voice cut through the screams, cold and commanding. The light cannot win, child. Turning, Derek's eyes widened. Out of the writhing mass stepped a figure wreathed in shadows, a hollow echo of humanity, eyes gleaming like black holes. I am the emblem of your fears. You cannot resist me forever. No. Derek felt the terror creep back in, clutching his heart with icy fingers. We are strong. We will fight you. As the figure approached, the shadows vacillated, shifting like a living tide ready to crash. Lucy trembled beside him, the light dimming under the weight of the threat before them. Push back, Lucy. Derek urged, but deep down he knew they were facing something far more powerful than they had ever encountered. What in the world had they awakened? As the dark figure loomed closer, Derek's world narrowed to a single point: the clash between light and shadow, a desperate moment where all hope hung in the balance. And then, all went silent. What do you want from us? Lucy finally asked, her small voice breaking through the tension, trembling but fierce. The shadows paused, the figure tilting its head, a chilling smile stretching across its ghostly features. You'll find out soon enough. The promise hung heavy in the air, and dread filled Derek's chest as he braced for what was to come. What had they truly unleashed? What did the dark figure know that they didn't? The dark shadows froze as Lucy's brave voice pierced through the thick air, her small frame standing tall beside her father. Derek's heart was a frenzied drum, pounding in his chest with an urgency that felt unbearable. The ominous figure inched closer, emanating a weighty malice that wrapped around them like a vice. But Lucy's light still flickered, illuminating the space with a warmth that felt for a moment like safety. "Lucy, don't be scared," Derek urged, fighting to keep his own voice steady. "You're not alone. We'll face this together." The dark figure chuckled, a low, chilling sound that sent ripples of anxiety shooting through him. "Together? How quaint. But you see, child, no one can save you from what you truly are and what I require." Lucy's bright eyes narrowed, refusing to waver even in the face of ultimate dread. "What do you want from us?" she repeated, firmer this time. The figure straightened, the shadows around it swirling like a storm. "You hold the key, girl. Your light is the only thing that can free me. But your fear is what binds you and binds me," it hissed, the words slithering through the silence like venom. Derek felt a swell of anger. "No!" he shouted, stepping forward. "We're not afraid of you. Lucy is stronger than you think." With a sudden burst of determination, Lucy took a step forward, the light around her flaring brighter. "You can't control me. You won't take my light." The glow radiated from her, pushing against the darkness like dawn fighting night. A flicker of surprise danced across the shadowy figure's features, but it quickly transformed into rage. "You're naive, child. You have no idea what you're playing with. You awaken forces beyond your comprehension." Derek's heart leaped as he recalled all the lessons he had taught Lucy about bravery and love. "That's right. She may be small, but she has the strength of a lion. This isn't just about you, this is about her family." And his voice softened, glancing at Lucy's eyes. "This is about her choosing to be fearless." "Fearless," the figure repeated, its voice twisting in mockery. "But fear is what makes you human. You cannot eradicate it. So tell me, child, what happens when darkness too gives birth to light?" Lucy paused, a flicker of doubt crossing her face. But the moment was fleeting, and she took a deep breath, her resolve fortifying. "You will never take my light. I choose love. I choose my family." The ground beneath them trembled in response, shadows recoiling slightly as vibrant energy surged through them. Derek's chest felt lighter as hope coursed through him. "That's right, Lucy. Remember the love we share. Remember all the wonderful moments. Call upon them and let them fuel your power." Lucy squeezed her eyes shut and took a deep breath. "I will. I'll fight." The light around her flared to life in a burst of golden brilliance, illuminating the darkness like a dawn mist sweeping away the night. The shadows squirmed, screaming in a discordant chorus, flickering like candles in a raging wind. Derek stepped closer, hands reaching out, channeling his strength into her. "That's it. You can do this. Push through the darkness." The shadows convulsed, swirling wildly as Lucy's voice grew steadier, more powerful. "I won't fear you. You have no power here," she declared, sounding like the roiling tempest outside finally coming into its own. The figure howled in frustration, shrinking back as if bathed in fire. "No. This isn't over." It screeched, and in that moment, the shadows, once so menacing, began to unravel, retreating into the recesses from which they came. But Derek's breath caught in his throat as Lucy's light pulsed one last time. "You're right. It's not over, not until we make this right." And with a force of pure determination, she thrust her hands forward, releasing a torrent of illuminating energy. A blinding flash erupted, illuminating the night like never before. For a moment, there was silence, complete silence, as the darkness washed away. The figure screamed, a final haunting echo, before being swallowed whole by Lucy's brilliance. As the light faded, the shadows evaporated, leaving only soft whispers trailing away into the wind. The stillness that descended felt surreal, almost tangible. Derek blinked in the aftermath, the world around them returning to color, the playground reappearing in the gentle glow of street lamps. Lucy turned to him, a fierce smile breaking across her face, her spirit unbroken. "We did it, Daddy. We pushed them away." Tears brimmed in Derek's eyes, swelling with relief and pride. "You were amazing, sweetie. You were so brave." Arya squeezed Lucy's shoulder, whispering encouragement before meeting Derek's gaze. "You both may have won this battle, but we must be vigilant. There could be more lurking in the shadows." The taste of victory felt bittersweet. Derek nodded, heart heavy but resolute. "We'll be ready. Together." He pulled Lucy into his arms, breathing her in, burying himself in the warmth of love, ready for whatever would come next, but for now, they had conquered a darkness together, armed with the light of understanding and the unbreakable bond of family. As they walked toward the embrace of a newfound dawn, Derek breathed in the sweet air of hope, feeling the past fall away. They would face whatever came next, side by side, and as the sun began to rise, illuminating the path ahead, the shadows receded, marking the start of their adventure into the light. If you loved this conclusion, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. You have to smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. And I want to hear from you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference, true fans.